Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'm still high off my last interview with Ugly Kid Joe guitarist and Godsmack and Evanescence producer Dave Fortman. That was such a great interview. So much fun. And this one's just going to keep the streak going. We've got another huge guest today, Sean McNabb. He is so amazing. I can't believe this guy's resume. He's been in so many huge bands, from Quiet Riot to Dokken. And he was in Great White for a long time, but you'll find out why he often leaves that one off his resume. So we discussed that, plus his acting, which includes the movie Four Christmases, Sons of Anarchy, Street Survivors, which is a Lynyrd Skynrd movie. I haven't seen that one yet. I want to see that. And we talk about that. Plus, he has a lot of fun stories, some sad stories, and just a lot of overall great stuff. Enjoy it. So first off, I do need to offer my condolences on your former bandmate and friend, I'm assuming, Frankie Banali. That's really sad about that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's been a tough couple of, about a week and a half, and I owe Frankie a lot. Frankie basically gave me my first job nationally in Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
When I was 20 years old. So he basically gave me my start in the business. And I had been only in LA for 2 weeks, and went out to the Cat House, Ricky and Tammy's Cat House one night, and was introduced to Frankie. And he goes, "Hey, come over. We're auditioning bass players. Why don't you come over to the Valley tomorrow and let's meet you and maybe record a track, see how it goes." And it worked out for me. I was in the right place. So I got a lot to thank Frankie for. Great man.
Did you keep in touch with him throughout the years? Like, you must have had run-ins, because some of these, a lot of these bands that you've been in, I'm sure you guys toured together or did shows or festivals together.
Absolutely did. We always were playing together. And then I don't know if you knew this too, but I also went back, and I think it was 2005.
Right. Yeah.
And did a summer with Kevin and Frankie. And that was so I think I'm the only bass player that has played with Shortino and Kevin.
Yeah. Shortino, man, I was just listening to your album with him. I didn't realize how he really has the David Coverdale, Robert Plant sound. I mean, it's really phenomenal. I never noticed how good of a singer he really is.
Shortino's special, he's so soulful. We call him a blue-eyed soul singer.
Yeah.
He came.
I love that term.
He came all those great soul singers, Sam Cooke, all the Motown guys, Smokey. He came from all that, and of course, then the rock guys, your Coverdales and your Paul Rodgers and all that. So he's got all that. He's amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about you. So let's back up a little. You grew up in South Bend, Indiana, and your brother was a drummer. Your parents played like the Beatles, Steppenwolf, ELP, Jimi Hendrix. You kind of grew up with that sound, but it really was around, 9 or 10. You went to go see The Who, or sorry, Tommy, the movie by The Who. And that's kind of what really inspired you to actually pick up an instrument, right?
Absolutely. I was very lucky. My parents were into music, and I grew up in that era, with the incense, the beaded curtains, and the water beds, and the 60s, 70s rock, but in my opinion, some of the best,
Yes.
And very like the Beatles, all that, my parents always were playing good music. And yes, then my mother dropped me off at a matinee. I'll never forget it. That day changed my life, of the movie Tommy. And, if you've seen it, it's kind of out there and avant-garde movie. And for a 10-year-old, I didn't really understand a whole lot of it, but I knew I gravitated towards the music and the Who's music and John Entwistle. And I kind of walked out of that theater going, that's what I want to do, that day.
Yeah. So is this around the time you started playing the bass? Did you take lessons, or were you self-taught? I'm always curious with that kind of stuff.
My mother had a classical guitar, and she kind of gave that to me. And you play that with your fingers and stuff. So that I started playing with my fingers, and that just felt kind of natural. And that led to bass, getting involved in the school band. You know, they needed a bass player. I'm like, oh, let's try that. I had played trumpet and drums before that. My brother being a drummer, could never get a sound on the trumpet. And my brother was a much better drummer. So I thought, oh, okay, let's try this bass guitar thing.
So then, and did you do any acting as a child? Because I know we'll get into the acting thing, but I know you later would do movies and TV. Did you do acting in high school plays or anything like that?
Absolutely. I was around drama and drama classes early on in my church. It was actually a Unitarian church my mother was going to and took us to, and we got into drama classes at a very early age. So I've been kind of around that my entire life. And then when rock and roll kind of took over, and you know, I got away from that for a while, but 15, 16 years ago, I got back into the acting thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we'll get to that. But so with your music career at this point around high school, you were kind of playing in a lot of bar bands in the Midwest and Florida. And then before even Quiet Riot, you got an offer to play in that band. Is it, how do you say it? Saraya?
Saraya, which was actually Sandy Saraya, great singer, but it was actually called Alsace Lorraine before they got their deal.
Okay.
So yeah, going back, you know, we used to play in these bar bands around the Midwest and Florida, you know, and it was great for honing our chops. You know, we played all the top 40 stuff, so that helped me be a lot more well-rounded musically. You know, when you were playing all the hits, the top 40, you know, you were playing a little bit of funk, a lot of rock, you know, pop, you know, just a vast, you know, variety of music, and that really helped me cut my chops as a young musician coming up. And you know, you played 3-4 sets a night, so it was great training.
Oh.
And I did that in many bands in the Midwest, and then 2 bands in Florida that worked all the time. And then I got that offer to go to New York, move to New York, and join, which became Saraya. They had a deal on Polygram. And I moved from Florida in beautiful weather to wintertime in New York City. And what an eye-opening experience that was.
Yeah. Yeah. So that actually had this is a little bit of a deep cut for some of my listeners who might not know a lot about music, but it was like the original Danger guitarist, Tony Bruno Ray, which he went on to do a lot of like work with, was it Janet Jackson, all sorts of stuff. He was in that band too, right?
I don't think Tony was. I think it was Sandy, Greg, and oh man, I can't remember the guitar player's name, but he was really, really good.
Oh, maybe he joined later. Yeah, I don't know.
He was really, really good. And he was friends with Ray Gillen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a really
yeah, and he actually recommended me. Well, I'm not trying to jump forward, but here was the deal. I went out there. Things were taking a long time with Saraya to get up on their feet, the deal and everything. And I ended up moving back to Indiana for a while.
Yeah.
And in hopes to move to L.A. and joined another band there for a few months, and then was off on my way to L.A.
Yeah, so tell me about moving to L.A. Like, did you have a plan when you moved to L.A.? Like, you didn't have a job lined up. Did you have money saved up? Did you have – I'm always curious with these kinds of – like, this is a big move for you. Did you have, like, your car full of your belongings, or was it just like a one-way bus ticket and a suitcase, or –
Thanks for asking that question. No, I had a dream and 2 basses, an SVT, and a Nissan Stanza. And and I think I had $200 in my pocket, and this friend of mine from Louisville, I say Louisville because that's the way you say it if you're from Louisville.
Okay.
But this friend of mine, she goes, hey, if you help me move out, if you follow me out there in my U-Haul, you can stay on my couch for, you know, a month or 2 until you get on your feet or whatever, find a job. And I thought, that's a great opportunity. Let's do that.
That's prime real estate. That, especially now, I was like, you know, because rent in LA, a couch would be. I mean, even a couch is like probably. You could probably get $1,000 for a couch. I think I interviewed this comedian, and he shared a room with some old guy he met on Craigslist. And I think he was still paying like $500. They had to share a bedroom and like even share like the floor. They didn't even have a bed. I mean, it was there. So that's like a pretty good deal to get it for free then.
Dude, and it was amazing too because I moved in right on Sunset and Gardner, which is right by the Guitar Center, all those guitar shops at the time.
Oh.
And in my building were some people that really knew a lot of people in the scene. Betsy Browning, I don't know if you know who that is, but she knew everybody. And this girl, Tina, she was actually the one that took me to the Cat House when I met Frankie and got to get in Quiet Riot. But you would see like Rudy Sarzo, I met him early on, and some of the
I had him on my show.
Would come, near and dear friend, and he's been so helpful to me in my career and just becoming an adult, you know. And one of my heroes, you know. But we'll get to that in a minute. So this building had a lot of traffic, foot traffic of a lot of the guys that, you know, I was into their bands and that kind of music. I was at the right place at the right time. And I was very, very lucky. I got in Quiet Riot 2.5 weeks after I hit town.
Wow. That is a really amazing story. Because you hear some stories, it's like years of grinding. I mean, you were probably grinding in those other bands and things, but that's pretty amazing. 2 weeks in. So part of it is kind of knowing people and kind of getting plugged into the scene and stuff then.
It sure is, you know, and I really believe it was kind of a God kind of destiny thing, you know, because I had worked real hard and I left school, you know, going in 11th grade to go out with a touring band. You know, I was making $250 a week and all my friends were schlepping away in school. And I was like, man, I want to play rock and roll, get chicks and drink, and I'm doing what I do, you know?
Yeah.
And
so at that point, when you're 21 and you join Quiet Riot, it's a national band, it's a big band. Did you just feel like you won the lottery at that point?
Well, yes. And you know what? And here was the deal. I was, if I got any greener, you could smoke me, man. I knew nothing about the business of rock and roll. I was just so happy to be in LA and be in one of the bands that, you know, I idolized. And it was really a dream come true. Looking back, I would have done some things differently, just business wise. I didn't know any, I was just happy to be there. You know, I never learned all that business stuff, you know, that you learn as you go.
What would you have done differently business wise?
I think I would have gotten involved in probably the writing a lot more and probably gotten an attorney, you know.
Really? Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
There's a kid here that I interviewed. I mean, he's like, I think he might be 21 now, but he's real super young and he's got a music career. He's really talented. And he's telling me he's got, you know, an attorney and a manager and an agent. And I'm like, all these things. And I'm like, wow, but that's what you got to do now, huh? That's a big piece of it.
And you had to do that back then too. I just didn't know, you know, and, but you know what, at the same time, that's kind of been my life. I've learned everything the hard way. And, you know, I'm just kind of one of those knuckleheads that has to learn it the hard way. And then I learn it, you know, and then I'm good. So I wouldn't change a thing, you know, and going back to Frankie Banali, you know, God rest his soul. He gave me my start in the business. If it wasn't for Frankie, I wouldn't have leapfrogged to all those bands that I've been in and had that kind of music career. And hey, we made albums, you know, there's a lot of people that can't say that made records, you know?
Right. Do you have a memory of Frankie that like something that stands out when you think back of that time?
Yeah, he was really good to me, especially in the beginning. He'd always take me out to dinner, and I'll never forget us playing Japan Aid 2 together. It was my first big gig, and here was the bill. Dig this bill. It was who was the headliner? It was Dio, Quiet Riot, George Duke, Irene Cara, Gorky Park, and there was and James Brown.
Oh wow, that's a diverse mix of artists.
so I got to meet James Brown and you know, hang out with all those other guys. But that was my first big gig. Really cool. And you know, Frankie was just such a powerhouse, man. He just laid that groove down and you just jumped right in it. And he taught me a lot about how to play in the pocket, you know, and I learned a lot from him. And he also, you know, I did a lot of things that, you know, stupid stuff kids do when they're kids, you know, and he checked me on a lot of that. And I was thankful for it because, you know, I needed to be checked at that time.
Right. Just like partying too hard or something, or?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that, but just, you know, things that kids do, you know, not always the best decisions.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Fair enough. Well, so yeah, you made that one album with them in '88 or it goes around that time. And then you joined so many bands. It's made looking at your resume and people just go on your Wikipedia, but you were in House of Lords for an album. And then in '93, yeah, yeah. And you made you made an album called Bad Boys with a Z. I don't know if I heard that one, but I mean, and then another one called Bad Moon Rising. I think it was around this time, right?
Yeah, that was with Cal and Doug Aldridge and Cal Swan from Lion. And I didn't actually do the record. I did the tour. Chuck Wright did the record. But Doug actually got me that gig in House of Lords as well, Doug Aldridge. And
okay,
we go back a long ways, you know, and he's a wonderful guitar player and great guy. But yeah, that's really got me off and running there.
Yeah, and I found this interesting too, because there's always kind of this discussion about, you know, the arena rock bands versus the grunge bands or whatever. But you were actually friends with the good friends with the bassist from Alice in Chains, Mike Starr. In fact, I heard you say that he used your bass on the Dirt record, which is pretty crazy.
That is absolutely true. And God, I'll show it to you. It's right here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Exciting.
This is actually really cool.
What brand is that?
This is an old Spectre.
Okay.
And
wow.
This is actually really cool. Every major record that I've done, almost every record that I've done in my career has been with this bass. And this was one of the original Spectres that was made in the late 70s. This is number 385. But it's just a recording machine, man. It's beautiful. And Mike Starr also played the Spectres, and he liked this bass. He had played it before, and I said, "Hey, you want me to bring it down and you can plug it in and see what it's like?" And I did, and I love that Mike Starr, man. He was a great dude. He was into, at the time we were all into. That band Infectious Grooves, which was Robert
Trujillo.
So we were around with a thumb a lot in those days. Yeah. And that had nothing to do with Alice in Chains, but Mike was into it too, you know? And so he goes, "Hey, can you show me some of that stuff?" And I did, and I'll never forget this. We're one-on-one and they're doing the record, and I think Dave Jordan, Mike and I go into the bass room and you know, we're fucking around with the basses and he goes, "You know, can you show me some of that slap stuff?" And I go, "Okay, you know, sure." And so we start messing around with the amps and we're all slapping away and they're having fun, you know, just what bass players do, you know, especially at the time. And Dave Jordan walks in and goes, Did you guys change the EQ on the amps? You idiots!" Fucking yelled at us. So we're like, whoops. You know?
Was he the producer or engineer?
Producer. Oh. Because it was set for the album, you know. And we should have known better. You know, we're kids.
Yeah.
We're having fun, you know. And anyway, he yelled at us, and with good reason. And you know, I look back at that, and you know, we lost Mike, and who knows, you know, what could have happened. I might have ended up in the band had that gone differently, but whatever.
In Alice in
You know,
Chains?
Yeah.
Why,
So
did you try out for him or something?
no, but I was friends with those guys, and then
You were friends with all of Alice in Chains?
what's that?
You were friends with all the guys in Alice in Chains?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
but Mike, but we knew each other, and
Okay.
it was cool. Anyway, it was one of those things that he was a special guy, and just had a heart of gold, and that brings me to I got so many friends that are not here anymore, and
Yeah.
and I got sober 16 years ago, and I got tired of seeing my friends move on, and that's been painful. And
Yeah, I've heard that story from a lot of people I've interviewed. Like, I think one of the first was Craig Gass. He was like good friends with the comedian Mitch Hedberg, and that guy. And there was like just so many. Like, it was the same thing. All these friends, he got so tired of it, and he told me he just quit cold turkey one time. He had a beer and he just goes, he threw it away, and he's like, I haven't had a drink since. Crazy.
I love Craig too, man.
Oh, you know him?
I met him. Yeah.
Yeah,
I met him. I love him on those roasts, man.
Yes.
He's like,
yes.
he's the man on those roasts.
Yeah.
But anyway, I met him a little while back, but I didn't know he was sober. But yeah, I didn't do it cold turkey, but it's been one of the best things that I ever did,
Yeah. So going back to your career, so in the '90s, eventually you join Great White, and you're in that band for like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years or something. You're on like 5 albums. Jack Blades from Damn Yankees and Night Ranger produced that "Can't Get There From Here" out record, which was actually like a really good record. It had at least a song or two, I think, on rock radio. And I remember living in Seattle, and I loved hard rock. I mean, I like grunge too, but they would never play like the quote unquote hair bands, like new music. And they played that song a lot in Seattle rock radio. And I was like, wow, they're playing the new Great White. This is amazing. And it was a really good song, the Rolling Stone song.
Yeah.
You said some of the greatest times of your life, but also some of the darkest times with Great White.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really proud of the music that we made, and especially on that "Can't Get There From Here" record. I think I did 5 albums with them, but that one was on John Kalodner's label, and
he produced for like Aerosmith and stuff, right? Isn't he the guy in the Aerosmith videos with the beard? Like, dude looks like a lady. That's him.
He looks like John Lennon, kind of.
Yeah, with a big beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, we were on his label, and we worked really hard on that record. And it was interesting because Don Dokken started out producing it.
Right.
And we just couldn't get anything done, and it wasn't Don's fault. It just, for some reason or another, we just couldn't get anything done. And Jack Blades got hired to come in, and boy, we knocked that record out in a month's time. And I was like thinking, wow, this is either going to be really great or it's really going to suck, being produced by a bass player, or he's going to want to play the bass or something. He was the greatest producer. He was supportive. He knew how to get the best out of you. He wrote great songs.
Did he co-write some songs on out? Because he's co-written songs with not only Night Ranger and Damn Yankees, but also for Vince Neil and Aerosmith. And I mean, He's all over the place.
He's a great writer, and great. And he just brought it all together, man. We knocked that record out in a month's time, and kept it. We kept it, I want to say, not so slickly produced. It had a rawness about it, that it wasn't women in verb like all that 80s stuff is. And
didn't you say he told you guys to listen to the Rolling Stones for like 30 days straight before he went into the studio and recorded it?
I think it was longer than that. I went out and just bought the Stones collection.
Okay.
And just enough. And I already loved Bill Wyman, so that was an easy one for me.
Yeah.
And he was right. That record has that vibe to it.
Yes.
And he was, man, one of the best producers I've ever worked with.
So you said one of the high points of Great White was you did a tour with Ratt, Poison, and LA Guns. That sounds like one of my dream tours for sure to watch.
Dude, we had such a ball. on that. That was in '99, and Poison hadn't toured in 10 years. So
Okay.
So you throw Ratt onto the bill, Great White, and LA Guns, and it was sold out every night, man. Every amphitheater that we played throughout the country was sold out. And it was one of those special tours that I'll never forget. You know, it was just awesome, and Poison couldn't have treated us better. And then you got Ratt on the bill. You know, it was really it was a really special thing, and people came out for it and supported it. And we had a record out too to work. We were kind of, like you said, getting some radio.
Yeah.
So we had momentum. And you know, Jack, man, I love Jack. At that time, Jack was at the top of his game, man, top of his game. And when Jack is at the top of his game, nobody can touch him.
Yeah. No, that must have been a fun tour. So you were still kind of in party mode at this point. You hadn't kind of cleaned up your act. So what about those other bands though? Because some of those guys are a little bit older at this point. I think hadn't Poison kind of clean up at that point? They were sober and stuff, or was there a lot of shenanigans?
Some of them there were, but there was a lot of shenanigans and all that rock star stuff, you know.
Give me one story, like from like an average Joe like me, like what's something that people would hear and be like, oh my God. Like, I mean, you've seen like the movie Rockstar. I'm sure you've seen Motley Crue's The Dirt. Is there anything on close to that level that's happening on this tour?
Absolutely. And more.
And more.
And I don't want to go into detail, but it was all going on in that tour. And we had a ton of fun. You know, of course, nobody was getting hurt or anything, but it was just that was all that decadence and rock and roll and people having a good time. It was a summer tour, you know.
Yeah.
Not a lot of clothing, you know. We had so much fun. I'll never forget this. We had this bottle rocket fight one night. And
what?
3 of the buses, I think might have been 4th of July or something like that.
Okay.
But 3 of the buses were on one side of the back parking lot of the amphitheater, and 3 or 4 of the buses were on the other side. And I'll never forget this. Some guy, it was in Florida or something. This guy shows up. He had a suitcase full of mushrooms, and you know,
like
we all took
mushrooms.
Them. Yeah, and we all, you know, thank God I was after the gig. I never did anything before it was always after the gig.
Is that pretty common with rock bands? Do most of them not do anything while they're on stage? Because I feel like Guns N' Roses, there's times where I've watched them and gone, like back in the day where they were like just beyond fucked up.
Oh yeah. I can't speak for everybody else, and I think everybody differs and everything.
Okay.
For me, I always wanted to do a good show and then get my party on. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
But, you know, I think for some people, whatever works. But that is a drag, though, when you go to a show and the band's too wasted to give you a good gig.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That sucks. But anyway, so this guy had a suitcase full of mushrooms and rockets and what?
Oh, yeah. So we all bought these fireworks, you know, because they were legal and everything or whatever. And we all took the mushrooms, and, you know, we're coming on the mushrooms, and somebody runs out of the bus with like some bottle rockets and fires them in our bus. And we're like, oh no, they're not getting away with that. So we run out and fire some bottle rockets. And next thing you know, it's Roman candles.
Oh my God. You know,
it looked like a firefight, you know.
Nobody got hurt?
No.
That's good.
Which is a miracle. And we're running out, and next thing you know, we're chucking M80s and okay, whatever we had. You know? It was great. You know, wow. we weren't throwing the M80s too far. We just throw them out in the middle of the parking lot to blow up and scare somebody. You know, but it was just us boys having fun, and that was a great night. I'll never forget that. And you know, there was the psychedelics too, and
well, that's right. You're on mushrooms while you're watching. I mean, that must have been freaking you out a little bit, or.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I mean, it enhanced the experience.
Okay. So those are some of the good times, but then, like you said, you also said these were some of the darkest points for you. So this is kind of when you hit your low point with addiction. And I know Great White, the band, obviously there were some bad things for them. And this is interesting. I heard you talk about this because you were actually not there for the whole station nightclub fire, but you said that somebody asked you about that incident, like every single time you brought up the band name. And here I am completing the cycle here, and that started to kind of wear on you, right?
It really did. You know, my addiction, you know, from there kept kind of ramping up, and you know, the cocaine and the alcohol and all that, you know, really ramped up for me, and it started to get out of control. And I had gotten, I had gotten fired from the band towards the end of addiction, and that was, you know, not easy because, you know, I'd been in the band for a long time, and that didn't help me. But then they had asked me, someone from the management company called up and said, "Hey, do you want to go out and do this tour? And here's what we can pay you." And I'm like, wait a minute, I used to be a member of this band and a member of the corporation. That's what you're going to offer me to go back out? No, thanks. I'm not going to do it. And 2.5 weeks later, that happened.
Wow.
So I think somebody was looking out for me, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just a horrible tragedy that happened that really shouldn't have happened. And of course, nobody went there to hurt anybody. It just was a horrible set of circumstances that kind of was.
Was it common to use pyrotechnics in small clubs back then? Because I know now they've made it illegal to do so, but is that something that they'd done a lot, or?
We never did, you know.
Okay.
We never did. And I had played that club many times, and there was a lot of foam on the walls for sound because the neighbors would get pissed off about the sound. And I guess the adhesive that they had stuck all that on with was highly flammable. So that's was the deal with that. But like you said, you know, I kind of took Great White off my resume for a long time because every time that would come up, someone would ask me about the tragedy and the fire. And, you know, I just felt so bad about it. I lost friends there, you know, and I kind of had to just let that go. And you know, horrible tragedy.
Yeah, terrible. So, and then you kind of closed the book on Great White in about 2008. And then you joined Dokken for, I think you did a couple albums with them, and you called Don Dokken. I mean, he kind of produced that one album for Great White, or started to, but you called him your boss, which is, it's kind of interesting. So what's it like having Don Dokken as a boss? Is he a cool boss? Or?
Yeah, Don was great, you know, and we had some really good years with him, and then you know, he had some rough years with the health stuff and struggled with his voice a little bit, you know.
Yeah, how's he doing? I heard he had surgery on his hand or something, and it didn't go well. Was it his hand?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
But all I know is that he's a near and dear friend of mine, and I adore the man, and I want good health, and you know, his girl's a friend of mine too, and I want good health for him. And last time I saw him, he looked good. He sounded good. No, it made me very happy.
That's good.
We played a lot of gigs together. You know, him and Mick Brown and John Levin, and we had a solid thing going there for many years, and made some good music as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because so you were in Dokken, you work with Don Dokken, but then you also would later end up joining Lynch Mob. So you work with the original Dokken guitarist George Lynch, of course. What's he like to work with? He kind of intimidates me. I've heard stories where not, you know, just that he, you know, might come off to some people as I don't know, just like he scares me a little bit. Like he might have, like, people think he has an attitude or something. Or did you have any experience with him?
Well, I had worked with George back in 2002. I did a summer with Lynch Mob, so I go way back. this whole Dokken lineage, I go back with, you
Wow.
know, since Under Lock and Key and everything. And that whole Great White and Dokken used to have rehearsal studios right across from each other down at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we were always around each other.
Okay.
And yes, George is one of those guys, you know, he's one of the guys that is in that top 5. He's right in there in the conversation with Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Vi, George Lynch. I mean, he's in there, you know, he's one of those Zakk Wylde. He's in that conversation for Guitar Hero. Very special player. He's he kind of like, nobody can really do what he does.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was really cool to play with him for many years. And you know, he's one of those guys, you know, either you get him or you don't. Sometimes his humor can be taken the wrong way.
Oh.
But if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't.
Okay.
And that's just what it is with him. And, you know, I'm proud of the work and the 8-year run that I did with him. And I felt like, you know, I've been blessed to lay it down for a lot of those Guitar Hero guys, Ronnie Montrose, George Lynch, Doug Aldridge. You know, it's a big responsibility to lay it down for these Guitar Heroes. And, you know, my job is to make everybody look good. When I say that, I mean, lay down that foundation so everybody can shine. You know what I'm saying?
And you don't mind kind of taking that little bit of a back seat with a lot of this stuff in the band. I mean, because you still get to be in the band and play, but you're not the front man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good with that. And, you know, I've made a career out of it, you know, and been really lucky. I'm still doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And,
yeah. So I was going to ask you another thing too. Is it true that I don't know if you wrote this music or you just play on the music, but you've done like some other stuff besides being in these bands, like the McDonald's commercial, I'm Loving It. Is that you playing on that, or did you write that, or what was the story with that?
I did not write that. Wish I wrote it, but no, I was in a series of commercials that did, you know, the ba-da-ba-ba-ba or whatever. You know, I did some of those, and those played.
You're playing the bass on that?
No, I don't think all of them, but some of them.
Okay, that's pretty cool though. And the Dr. Phil show, you did music for that one too?
Yeah, I did something for that. And that was a thing that played every day on his show.
Oh,
you know?
So did you get a royalty for that then?
I did not. I took a buyout on the session, you know, because that's what the offer was. And, you know, I just did it. And
did you know it was going to be for Dr. Phil, or did they just say, oh, we need to just do some music and we might use it, we might not? Or how does that stuff work? Did they tell you, like, this is for the Dr. Phil show, you said, don't screw it up?
I think I knew it was for the Dr. Phil show, but it was that was the gig. You know, it was either we can pay you this for the session, either do you want to do it or not? And I said yes. They go, you know, this is something you're not going to make residuals on. This is where the pays, and do you want to do the session? And I said, yeah.
Because they have the negotiating power, because if you don't do it, they could just get another bass player, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Because people probably line up for that job.
It was something to put on my resume, and I thought, hey, you know, maybe it'll lead to another show or something.
When you say resume, do you have like an actual like paper resume, like
for the music stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. All the gigs I've gotten have been word of mouth, or, you know, somebody recommended me or saw me play at something.
You're not on LinkedIn, is what you're telling me.
I am, but
you are.
Has anybody ever gotten a gig off LinkedIn?
I mean, that's what I'm curious for music. I mean, for me, I get offers for like, you know, stupid stuff like, oh, like a sales job or something. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but that'd be interesting if, you know, Quiet Riot or Dokken was, you know, hitting people up on LinkedIn. That'd be interesting. The world is changing. But so, okay. So yeah, I mean, that you've done so much music stuff, but let's talk about your acting. Like, what made you want to get into acting? Because you didn't really do any music film and TV work until was Four Christmases. Was that your first like major thing that you done with film and TV, or had you done commercials and things?
I had, it was one of them. I was already union at that point.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had some stuff. No, I think I started doing some commercials, and that's usually what you start out doing when you're trying to build a resume is you do student films, you try to do commercial stuff, and you're trying to get your SAG card. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's this way anymore, but you used to get vouchers for doing those things. And once you had 3 vouchers, you were eligible to join SAG.
Huh.
Okay. I'll never forget it. I did a couple of commercial things, and then one afternoon I played this life coach in something. I don't remember exactly, but I got Taft-Hartley, which what that meant was I was available to join the union.
Okay.
And in one, I spent all this time trying to get the vouchers, and then we just Taft-Hartley'd you. You're in. All you got to do is pay the money.
Okay. Nice. So you got your union card, and then you did Four Christmases. Did you have any interactions with Reese Witherspoon at all? I'd really like to get her on my podcast. I'm sure she's probably getting a lot of offers. But did you have any interactions with her, or Vince Vaughn, or any of the? Oh, you did.
She was amazing and very nice. She loved music. That was a great shoot, and this was really cool because we were Dwight Yokam's band in the movie.
Oh, in the church scene?
Yeah, but there was this whole other huge monologue that he had, and we went into some things with him. So we spent a whole week on the set with him shooting all this, and they ended up cutting that monologue from the movie.
Oh.
But we hung with him and played Beatles songs, all week. It was so much fun. And
cool.
Dude, that's crazy because, we were just the band basically in the movie, but because I was union, I got paid a SAG rate, and I've probably made, I don't know, $65,000 off that being in that movie.
Really? Wow.
And I still get checks. They're not as big as they used to be, but I still get checks from that because it's a Christmas movie and they play every year.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of gigs that you want. Now, you get a nice guest star or lead in one of those movies, you're making some nice checks. So
that's awesome. Well, I like that movie. It's a guilty pleasure for me. I don't know what it is. My girlfriend, we always joke, we want to do that. Like at the beginning, how they're going to go on vacation for Christmas instead of going to their family. We always joke like, let's go do that. Let's just go on a vacation for Christmas. But of course in the movie, they actually end up going to their families. So,
I mean, Vince Vaughn, Robert Duvall, Reese. Yeah. I mean, come on.
John Favreau, like such a great cast.
Right.
Yeah.
And Favreau's become a big director,
Yeah.
That was all that.
Yeah, I loved him in Swingers. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about that the other night. Some of my guys from acting class were talking about that and Swingers and maybe it was Rounders or something too.
That's a good
maybe it was Swingers. Yeah.
So then you were in Sons of Anarchy. You said that it took like 4 years to get on the show, and you had a little bit of a smaller part, but you did 5 episodes. So what's it like being on that set? Because, I mean, how many of the guys on that show are actually tough biker guys, and how many people are just playing the part? Because you are a real biker. I saw you went out and rode bikes with Gilby Clarke the other day.
Yeah, I'm a booze fighter, which if you Google the Booze Fighters, it's a motorcycle club that's been around since 1946 with a lot of the history of Southern California biker culture came from the Booze Fighters.
Wait, you called it a club or is it a gang? Is there a difference?
It's a club.
Okay.
It's a 3-piece patch. It's the real deal. Obviously we're not doing any gangster stuff, but
that's good.
We're respected by some of the power clubs because we were around before them, so the club has that respect. And anyway, it's a really great thing to be a part of. But going back to what you were talking about, it did take me many years to get on the show. It was I was in a lot more than 5 episodes. 5 is
really?
all that's on my. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was in maybe 16 or 17, but anyway, as an actor, you don't want that many not lead or not co-stars or lead roles on your IMDb. So I was fine with that.
Okay.
You don't want uncredited things.
Oh.
But dude, it was such a great show. It was written so well, and the 8 actors, the main cast were just some of the best actors that are around, and just everything on that show. The writing, the acting, the producing, the sets. And my friend built a lot of those sets. And that show was something very, very special. And I learned a lot, being around that, watching that machine work.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's a hit show. You want to learn. And you said you get recognized more from that show than being in all these bands that you've been in.
It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get recognized for. I'm obviously much more proud of some of the roles that I've done of late, and where I'm playing co-stars or bigger parts. Like some of the Lifetime movies or this Skynyrd movie that I was just in.
Yeah, I want to see that. That looks pretty cool. And then you did a movie called Rock Story that has it's kind of an interesting cast. Eric Roberts, Joyce DeWitt, who is Janice from Three's Company, Gilbert Godfrey, and then you got to do solo music on the record. So you got to sing, and I listened to that's you singing, right? And like also your America song, that's you, right?
Yeah, I had America and another song called Fresh Air that they asked me to write a couple songs for the movie. And
you got a hell of a voice, man. I was really impressed. I was like, oh, I didn't know what to expect for a bass player, but no, you got a really good voice.
Thanks. I've actually, gotten a lot of the gigs that I've gotten because I could sing too. You need strong backing vocals like that. But it was a real honor to write a couple of songs for that. I've done 3 movies with Eric Roberts now, and another thing that we're trying to get off the ground. But he's fabulous. And
he's Robert's brother, right? Isn't that right, or is that just an urban legend?
No, he is.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. He's done a ton of movies.
Oh my God! You ever seen The Pope of Greenwich Village?
No, I don't think so. Is it good?
Dude, check it out. Yeah.
Is he? Wait, was he in a Runaway Train? Was he in that one too?
Not that, but he's got a IMDb a mile long.
Oh yeah, for sure. Is that a pretty good gig to be in the the lesser, not necessarily, are they B movies? I don't know what you call it, but he's in so many. Is that still a pretty good gig, even if it's not a huge major Hollywood production?
To do a lot of indie films?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as actors, we want to do our craft at all costs, and I know he gets a lot of straight offers because he's Eric Roberts,
Mm-hmm.
And myself, I've been working really hard. I work out at an acting studio every week. I've got a coach, I've got a manager here, and I'm really working hard to really up my game there. And all I want to do is be a working actor. I don't need to be a movie star. I just want to work and do my craft because it's another creative outlet. It's a lot like music, I mean, all that life experience that I've had, I can use in my acting, and all that experience of being on stage and all that, I can bring that to these characters. And I've been learning how to bring them to life with a lot more layers and a lot more depth in the last several years. And I think it's leading to better parts for me as an actor.
That's super cool. So you did a lot of pilots. You didn't it didn't make it, but what were some of the memorable ones, either like really good pilots or really bad pilots, or ones with like star power that didn't end up making it?
Well, a lot of pilots are like that, they maybe I think the staggering numbers are maybe 8 to 9 out of 10 don't make it.
Okay.
You know, every once in a while you get a diamond, you know, that makes it. So you say, thank God. I haven't quite had that one yet, but you know, we remain hopeful and open to whatever the universe wants. But that happens a lot, and you always put your best foot forward. I just shot a proof of concept a couple of weeks ago. This great thing called Captain 80s, about a band that didn't make it in the 80s, and now they get a chance to open up for this huge band in their 50s. So the comedy is all in getting the band back together, and I play like the band leader, and my daughter's the manager, and it leads to these beautiful comic situations, and it's a really, really great story.
Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, and you know, I can't say too much about it, but it's going to be really, really cool. I saw some of the dailies last week, and it's got a little supernatural thing going on too.
Okay.
It's really cool. Yeah.
So how many auditions do you have to do to get a part? Like, do you have to do a lot of auditions? That's what I hear a lot of my acting people that I've interviewed. They say, you know, they just got to go on so many auditions. It gets really tiresome.
You do a lot of auditions and you hear no a lot, you know, you weren't what they were looking for, or, you know, and then every once in a while you're right for it, you know, and it does help to have people that believe in you and know that you can do it. Sometimes you get straight offers and you don't have to audition, but for the most part, and now a lot of the auditions are like this, you know,
sure,
on these Zooms, or you turn in tapes, you know, and I've been doing that a lot. Everything's been stalled for the last 6 months, obviously, you know,
right,
because of COVID, and things are. I've had a few. I've turned in a few tapes and things like that, but now the business is starting to come back. You know, people are hungry for new content, and I know that some shows are ramping up right now in pre-production, and a few are already in production. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Not only for actors, for all the crews. You know, it creates a lot of jobs, you know, in the economy and many different ways.
And people need entertainment. We need something that we're getting sick of the politics. We need some new shows to take our mind off of that.
And there's so many great networks and, you know, a lot of outlets for new content. So we're witnessing a really great time for film and TV.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the golden age. So you said earlier that is it 16 years sober now? Why do you think it's such a cliche for so many people to go through this? Like I said, so many people I talk to, you know, they're either a lot of them are, you know, they've had success and they go through that phase where they have a party phase and then they're like, I can't do it anymore. You know, they get too old. Why is that like such a cliche for rock stars and stuff?
It just kind of goes along with it. You know, my brother and I, we grew up, you know, idolizing all these rock stars that made it look cool to be fucked up and, you know, and rock stars, you know, we grew up in that era to where, you know, we looked up to all those, you know, Jim Morrisons and Hendrixes and Janis Joplins, and, you know, that looked fun and appealing, you know, and you know, that got me started. My brother, he turned out okay. He never had any problems, but I got the gene, you know, to where, you know, I started using marijuana at a really young age, and that led to everything, you know, and it kind of just goes along with the lifestyle, I think, you know, for a lot of people.
So when it was around age 39, did you just get kind of like, you just felt like got fed up with it to a point where you're just like, I got to quit? Is that what it was? Was there one thing that happened at that point? That was when you were in Great White, I think, right? So.
Yeah, there was I got tired of looking in the mirror, you know, and going, I don't even know who that guy is. I had a daughter that wanted nothing to do with me. You know, that hurt an awful lot. And I go, you know, I'm 39 years old. I need to make a change. And It took a lot of work, but I've got this beautiful daughter in my life. I've got a grandkid in my life, that is all a blessing of me getting sober.
Wow.
And it was so much more than drinking and using, and I don't want to be that preachy AA guy, but it was like all that step work and everything I did uncovered a lot of stuff, that made me go, oh, it's not just the drinking and using. It was a bunch of other stuff that happened in my childhood and this and that got uncovered and discovered and discarded and made a lot of sense. So it wasn't just about the drugs and the alcohol. It was about just kind of growing up and learning how to do life,
Okay. Wow. So, and then you say, are you more into like health now and stuff? Because if you're in that party lifestyle, you're probably not worried so much about your health. But now I don't know, I heard you talk, I don't know if you're still doing this, but you're doing like this diet that you're on, like a sugar detox. And you said you'd rather go to bed hungry and wake up skinny than and I mean, you look like you're in great shape. So, I mean, do you have any diet or fitness tips or anything, or what are you doing now to stay in shape?
Well, all right. Right now, we haven't been able to go to the gym, so we're hiking, doing weights in the backyard, but for the most part, when you get in your 50s, you can't eat all that good stuff that we used to eat, You really got to cut the sugar out or it just packs the pounds on. At least it does me.
Yeah.
So I figured that out. I'm on a keto-based diet.
Okay.
That isn't always fun. But, you reward yourself here and there, and you can't eat all that stuff. My wife and I, we always joke, we're like, would Christian Bale eat that? And the answer is no, he would not.
No.
And
especially if he's doing that one movie where he's all like skinny and he's like really, you ever seen that movie?
Crazy.
Yeah, he is an insanely good actor. One of the best.
Probably the best.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone better. So how are you?
My wife is also in the entertainment business. She's a news anchor in LA.
Right. Yeah. She's been in movies too, right? The Cable Guy and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. She's played that news anchor, a lot, but she's also, in the business. So we check each other and hey, you're talent. You can't be eating friggin' whatever. Juicy fruits at 12:30,
Right. So how do you you're able to be a part of so many great bands and do all this TV and film work too? Like, how do you keep getting all these gigs? Like, is it you like knocking down the door a lot, or are people coming to you based on your reputation, or like, what's the secret to your success?
Is never give up, keep improving, remain teachable. Like I said, you hear no a lot, and I think with the acting thing, if you're doing it all the time, like here, look at this table.
Oh, wow. Scripts? Yeah.
Yeah. Or scenes.
Okay.
If you're doing it all the time, it becomes second nature. And, you learn how to break these scenes down. You learn how to, people think being an actor is memorizing your lines and saying your lines. Dude, that's like that much of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more that goes into it. And the people that are booking the roles are those people that are uncovering every stone and are crossing all those T's and dotting the I's and having a moment before and knowing their story arc and knowing the character arc and knowing how to deliver beats and things. It's this whole other craft,
Yeah. Is there an actor or director or like a TV series like that you really would like to work with, or a TV series that you want to be on?
There's so much good TV out there right now. I really, I can't say one in particular. I want to work with writers that are just all in, and that are creating these characters that are layered characters, which for the most part they all are, at that level, they're amazing. And Yeah, I kind of gravitate towards the darker, layered characters. I like that. I like comedy too, but I like those darker characters. I find that fun.
Okay.
And I'm reading a great script right now, which the director from the Skynyrd movie co-wrote, and it's just it's so badass. And we'll see. We keep on growing.
Yeah. What about bands? Is there a band you've played in so many bands? Is there a band that you haven't played with that you want to play with?
Absolutely. I still want to play with all those classic guys like Peter Frampton and Fogerty, and I'm more into that classic thing anyway. So I would like to play with those kind of guys.
That's interesting because Rudy Sarzo, he's in the Guess Who now.
He sure is.
Yeah.
And let me just say, I love Rudy Sarzo, so much. He's been a mentor for me. He's been a friend. He's been somebody that I looked up to, that just idolized, that became my friend, and that's a beautiful blessing in itself, and he's taught me a lot, just how to carry myself, the way he carries himself.
Yeah. So what's more fun, music or acting?
Oh, they're both equally rewarding. They're different, but the same.
Yeah.
There's nothing like playing a big old gig and you got the crowd on your side and people know the songs and they come up to you afterwards and go, God, oh my God, I got married to that song. You have no idea, I used to have people say that to me, and that's pretty neat that you can affect people like that.
That's very cool.
And it's also cool when somebody comes up and goes, man, I loved you and so-and-so. You were great in that.
So you've done so many music projects and movie TV things, and like you said, there's so many great things that you've done. But do you ever hear a demo or you look at a script and you just think, this is a pile of shit, but then like you need the money, so you do it anyways? Or are you at the point now where you can be selective and say, no, I'm not interested in that?
I've definitely done that. If the writing's not up to par or whatever, I would be, the first guy to go, hey, it's great. Wish you guys the best with it, and I've got enough footage and credits now to where if it's not up to par, I will say, hey, wish you the best with your project, but this one's not for me.
That's cool.
Or I would have a manager do that or something,
cool.
Do
you have a manager and an agent, or is it the same guy, or is it two different people?
I do. Actually, my manager is behind that show Cobra Kai, which is huge right now.
Oh, I fucking love that show. It's funny because I watched it when I was on YouTube and I was trying to tell everybody about it, but nobody had YouTube Red. So everyone's like, yeah, whatever. And now it's on Netflix and now it's blowing up. And I'm like, I told you this 3 years ago or whatever.
I know he's going to kick my ass because I haven't watched it yet, but I know that the show was
Karate Kid?
Of course I saw that.
Oh, okay. If you like the original first Karate Kid movie, you'll love Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a guy show. Like, think about how many guys shows are out there. There's not very many guys shows. This is a guy show. It's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled for them. And I've also got an agent in New Mexico, which is a hotbed for TV and film as well. And I'm praying for New Mexico to get up and running because that's a lot of my friends work in that industry down there, and I'm praying for them to get back to work. Yeah,
that's very cool. So who has bigger egos, musicians like rock stars or movie stars?
Here's the deal with egos, in my opinion, is the people that have been around a long time usually don't have egos because they're so thankful for what they have and what they've achieved and that they're still doing it. Those are the people that are usually really cool.
That's what when I do these interviews. Everyone I've talked to has been like so nice to me. Like, I'm like, okay, this guy, I mean, like, you'd think they could be a dick if they wanted. They could be a total asshole to me, but they're not. And it's like kind of like surprising because you always think that these rock stars have these big egos and they're prima donnas. And I just don't see any of that. And, maybe they turn it off for the interviews, but yeah. So you're saying behind the scenes, same thing. Well,
what I'm saying is the people that have been around and been in the business a long time are usually really cool, because that's how you stay in the business a long time, is that you're easy to work with, you're cool, you don't have the ego. In my opinion, those are the people that have the longevity, as I've noticed, when people first get some fame or something, that's when the ego takes over for a little while. People got to go through for a little while, and they think their doo-doo doesn't stink or whatever for a little while. And then they come back down to reality and go, wow, I'm just grateful to have a career and be doing this,
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Everybody's got to go through it, just part of the thing. Hopefully it doesn't last very long and you come out the other side quickly.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Well, you mentioned your wife earlier. She's an Emmy award-winning journalist and she's from Arizona. She went to ASU, and she's been, like I said, she's been in a bunch of TV shows and movies. How did you guys meet? Was she a fan of your music, or?
No. Yeah, she's my wife is amazing, dude. She got 17 Emmys. She's been on Fox 11 for 30 years, and she has a boardroom at ASU in the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism down there, named after her. She's she is a rock star, dude.
That's awesome.
It's crazy, and especially here in Southern California, everybody knows her and loves her. She's done great work for inner city kids in a program she does called Wednesday's Child.
Yeah, tell me about that. So they've adopted over 500 or 600 inner city kids have been adopted with this program.
Yeah, and she's really doing God's work with that, and just to see these kids, get forever homes, and it's just so inspiring, and the work that she does, and these pieces that she puts together and profiles the kid on the news. It's it's worked, between 500 and 600 kids, and it's really a beautiful thing. And that, to her credit, that's the person she is. It's not phony, it's heartfelt, and it's just inspiring. I don't know anybody that works harder than she does.
Wow. Like on the stories and stuff that she's producing?
Oh yeah. She works till 12:30. She gets home at 12:30 at night. She's on the meeting at 9:30 in the morning, setting up for the next day. Another meeting at 2. They're on at 5. Then they're on at 10. So yeah, that girl works hard. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it makes you want to work hard too.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you're pretty busy yourself. Like, all these bands that you're in, and are you still doing the movies and TV and the music? Are you in a band right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm in several bands. Well, we just dropped, I've got a video that just came out with Gilby Clarke, my good buddy Gilby Clarke.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that's a stripped down version of the album version that we did. And that's like the 3-piece version. But I'm also in this band called Brown M&Ms, which is it's a Van Halen band, and everybody, it's the coolest band. It's Toshi Yanagi from the Jimmy Kimmel Band. It's Joe Travers from he's played with everybody, Zappa Does Zappa, Eric Johnson, all these great people. And then Eric Dover is the singer. He was in Jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
Yeah, and Alice Cooper and Slash and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's this killer band. And we're not a tribute band, but we pay homage to old Van Halen. Like, we do all the Dave era Van Halen. And all we're doing is just catching the spirit of what they had back then.
Okay.
Because, Eddie's been sick, and we're just praying that he's okay. And, we're paying homage to that great work that they did.
Awesome. Are you going to tour with Gilby? Are you going to tour with Gilby?
I have toured with Gilby. I play with him when his regular guy can't make it, but we're the best of friends. And we got another thing getting ready to come out with it's Gilby, Warren DeMartini, myself, Jimmy DeAnda. that's what we're doing right now. We're doing these live streams. We're
Oh,
doing
okay.
these videos, and because we
Oh,
can't gig.
yeah. No, that's crazy. And then you have a movie. You have a movie called The Locker that's coming out, and then there's another one I was curious about. Another one with Eric Roberts called Rock and Roll Zombie Apocalypse. And then Mark
That was
Metcalf is in that too.
who?
Mark Metcalf from Animal House.
There's a bunch of people in that. We haven't actually shot that. We shot a trailer for that,
Okay.
and you can watch the trailer. But I know they're still trying to. That's one of those pilots that they're still trying to secure the funding to make the feature.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
it's really great. But we just hope that they can get the funding together on that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to promote at this time?
No, I want you to check out that Street Survivors movie, which is on Amazon, and it's a story of the Lynyrd Skynrd plane crash.
Yeah, I want to see that. Is it free is it on Prime or do you have to pay for it?
I think you have to pay for it, but it's not much. It's like
Yeah.
$99 or something like that. But my good friends at Cleopatra, Brian Pereira, and badass director Jared Cohn, who he's becoming, like, he's working one movie after another. He's becoming the man. So we're very happy for him. And yeah, check it out. It's pretty cool, especially if you don't know the story of the Lynyrd Skynrd plane crash. Skynyrd was one of my favorite all-time bands, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to get involved in that movie. And, my friend Brian Pereira at Cleopatra Records produced it.
Okay.
So check it out. I think you'll find it entertaining.
Cool.
And,
Definitely will.
Yeah, support the arts,
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was really interesting. I like to hear all this stuff. I like these stories.
Dude, Chuck, thanks for doing your research. You were really well researched, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. You're a very interesting person. You've done a lot of stuff. So it's cool. I really appreciate it.
And you're wearing a Tora shirt? How cool is that?
Yeah, I gotta support my boys because they took the time to do an interview with me, the singer and the guitarist. So that was really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, they were on the Monsters Rock cruise a couple years ago, and I went and saw them because I always liked them.
Yeah,
I was a fan.
Yes,
and so was Kevin DeBro. He really liked them too.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, so check out Larry and the Monsters of Rock are doing a bunch of those live streams, and they've been really, really good. They sound good and they look good. So check those out as well.
Yeah, I hope you can tour to Phoenix. I'd love to shake your hand in person when it's safe.
Yeah, man. Be great to grab a coffee and shoot the shit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, Chuck, I appreciate you. Hit me with some links. Let me know where I can follow up, okay?
I will do. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
You too. So that was Sean McNabb, a musician, actor extraordinaire. Just overall such a nice guy too. Very cool, easy to chat with. Very easy interview for me. A lot of fun as always. I hope you guys are having fun listening. If you enjoyed the interview, tell a friend or share it on social media and tag me. I think that's kind of cool if you want to do that. If you want to keep up with the interviews, you can follow me on social media or hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. Make sure you follow Sean as well so you can keep up with his amazing career. Until next time, have a great day or night, and remember to shoot for the moon.